All right. Welcome everyone. Although at the moment don't really have don't really have viewers at the moment, but I'm kind of all right with that. I'm cool with some replay value. Yeah, I wanted to do a special little live stream in celebration of the launch of Outlaw Knights Genesis of a Renegade onto INDIEGOGO. I'm very excited about it. I was nervous as all get out yesterday. And then after launching, it was like I had that come down off the anxiety and I just felt kind of euphoric. So I was dancing around to music and shit yesterday. It was embarrassing and it was wonderful. So I also mainly wanted to talk a little bit about this attitude that has bled over into video games and then eventually it hit comics. Although it's hard to say which came first. It's kind of a chicken and egg kind of thing. But in regards to a couple of very popular titles, the most controversial one at the moment, of course, being The Last of Us. The Last of Us 2, the new one that's coming out soon. And there have been leaks, and there's been attempts to stamp out the leaks, blah, blah, blah. But I was turned off about this game before all the stuff came out about just the controversial elements of pushing specific political alignments and everything. The thing about The Last of Us, the first Last of Us game, and I tend to deviate from a lot of the popular groups when I talk about The Last of Us because I thought The Last of Us was a decent game. I didn't think it was bad, but I didn't think it was particularly great either. Like the story was compelling enough for a while, and by the way, for this chat, I'm going to be doing spoilers. I have to do spoilers because I have to talk about elements of these things that I didn't like, things where the direction just went the wrong way. I mean, that was a little redundant, but whatever. So yeah, the thing about the first Last of Us is that it didn't really have much in its gameplay that I considered much of a wow factor. It was very much action survival game, pretty straightforward, like a very small little crafting system. And really the crux of the whole thing was just the relationship between Joel and Ellie. And number one, Ellie annoyed the crap out of me in the first game. A lot of people thought like their relationship was very cute and precious and all. I'm sorry. When I see little kids cursing like sailors and everything, I don't consider that endearing or cute or whatever. It's obnoxious as all get out. It's this attitude, it's arrogance. It's at the attitude. It rubs me the wrong way. I hate seeing kids who curse like sailors. I think that's the main reason why I was not a fan of the new It movie that came out. I know that the kids cursing and all is more loyal to the book. I get it. But I hate it. It just rubs me the wrong way. I hate kids who curse like sailors. It's the most obnoxious thing in the world. Like I keep hoping to see a parent coming from out the side to, to fuss at them. But that nowadays, because nowadays the philosophy is, kids are always right and parents need to learn that. really topsy-turvy. And yeah, The Last of Us, it just didn't wow me, and the ending was what really turned me off to the idea of a sequel to this game. Uh, yeah, this is the big spoiler. The ending of The Last of Us was basically Ellie, her blood contained an immunity to the zombie virus. And so she was the key to synthesizing a cure. And at the last minute, Joel goes frickin' nuts and kills all the doctors and saves Ellie, which, you're supposed to be like, oh, he really cares about her. But the main thing I'm thinking of is, so you sacrificed humanity for this little cussing kid. Bravo. That's how heroic, you know? And I get Joel is not supposed to be a selfless character. He's a selfish character. But it's like there comes a point where it just rubs you the wrong way. And so I just, after that, I felt no need to replay the game. I didn't find it very endearing. And then I saw the trailer for Last of Us 2. And when I saw they were really going heavy on the angle of, I would say it's related to SJWism, not because of the homosexuality outlook, because I don't care about that. I think it's more to do with this weird, like, trying to deconstruct anything that could be considered alluring or sexy. I just find that weird, but it's like when she's during the trailer when she was getting into a dance with her partner. Um, there was a moment where the partner is saying something along the lines of, like, oh my god, like, I smell like garbage, like I smell like the inside of a dumpster, and they're like smelling each other, and it's disgusting. And then they start making out, and I'm like, oh my god, like, this is awful. Who would like this? Aside from hipsters who have raccoons in the walls. I mean, my god. That is just, you know and then, like, of course, these leaks happened, and the fact that we find out that Joel has his head bashed in, um, good God almighty. I don't understand what could possibly be attractive about the second, thing. And then, of course, once again, it gets out that, of course, the bad guys of this zombie apocalypse sequel are a bunch of, I get, quote, alt-right Christian fundamentalists, which means, the Westboro Baptist Church 2.0, easy target central, it's like, as a Christian, I get annoyed with that stuff. I understand doing it sometimes, but it's the fact that it's just so down your throat and in your face. So yeah, I didn't have any plans to buy Last of Us 2. Not at all, and I still don't. And I'm honestly glad it's getting a bunch of backlash online, because there's this attitude going on with game developers as well as comic book creators of they're the sensitive artistes. So as such, you as the viewer, your opinion is not valid or anything. And, like, basically the viewers, the customers, aka all of you, are the ones who what becomes prominent in pop culture and what doesn't. It's overall popularity that determines the lifespan of these types of projects. And when you're actively chasing away your fans, claiming to be standing on some sort of moral high ground, even though it's completely hypocritical, it's just the it's the most stubborn, useless thing you could do. It's just clinging to your pride. It's clinging to your apples, you know. Um, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the 7 remake again, but you know, the 7 remake really doesn't have controversy behind it the way The Last of Us does. There's some controversy, but it's nothing major. It's I think like they're talking about how, well, number one, it's this really stupid ending to the 7 remake that has people upset, and understandably so, because I'm a huge fan of 7, and I was expecting the story to be different, but I wasn't expecting it to completely go off the rails. And most of the game, it did not. Most of the game, it followed that pattern of hitting the plot points of the original and then expanding on it, adding more depth to the characters. That was 100% awesome. I loved every aspect of that. The final chapter is where I have issues, because the final chapter, number one, it's very surreal. Like most of the game was fairly grounded, and then we go into this surrealist ending where our characters are literally fighting fate. Uh, I hate those kind of gimmicks so much. They say, "Oh, the bad guy they're fighting, we don't explain him, but he represents like death, or you know, some abstract concept." I hate those kind of gimmicks in any kind of entertainment, much less a video game. And then the fact that afterwards they showed us a series of scenes which hint at the fact that there's a possibility that Zach is still alive. Biggs and Wedge both survived, and they weren't supposed to. And I wasn't fond of that at first, but I kind of got used to the idea. I was okay with that. Like you know, I don't mind compromising a bit. But the fact that we're gonna retcon it if Zach is still alive, and let me put it this way, I was reading this god awful article a little while ago, uh, talking about how, you know, oh, maybe we'll get a version where Aerith finally lives. Yay! It's what we always dreamed of. I don't know what pills you're on, buddy, but I never dreamed of that. I'm glad Aerith bought it. I'm pretty, you know, I used to be okay with Aerith as a character, but I mean, I was always a Tifa fan. And but after I played Crisis Core, I started to really dislike Aerith because you know, the way Crisis Core ends, Zack basically gives his life just to see Aerith one last time. And we get the sense from the scenes that they threw in there that Aerith was aware when Zack died. She could hear voices from the planet and stuff. Like they were letting her know like that Zack was about to bite it. And really, it seems like it takes no time at all for her to kind of get over that and then start putting the moves on Cloud. That was, you know, now I'm aware that the developers probably didn't intend for it to come off that way, but that's how it comes off. Period. It's, you know, it comes off like she's kind of callous about it or just didn't really care. And it's like Cloud is kind of an easy replacement for Zack because they're so similar. I didn't like that. And over time, I think my love of Tifa contributed to my dislike of Aerith, and I was just, you know, the first time the Aerith death scene happened for me, I actually felt very emotional. It was a sad experience for me. Nowadays, I actually kind of look forward to it in kind of a sick way. Just like, yeah, you can't beat Tifa. That's right. But yeah, I think the funny controversy that I've been seeing coming out about the 7 remake is mainly stuff where they talk about when they talk about sorry, I got totally distracted just now. Noises outside. But yeah, the funny controversy about the 7 remake is seeing all these woke folks on Twitter being like, "Oh, y'all don't want politics in video games? Well, there's politics in 7 and y'all claim it's your favorite. God, y'all are stupid." I am not a fan of having no politics at all in any media. It's about striking a balance. There is no balance in any current media, none whatsoever. It's always done as a propaganda piece. It's from only one perspective, and the other perspective is portrayed as being evil and corrupt to the core, blah, blah, blah. It's bullshit. Politics in games is a good thing. It adds to the discourse, but it has to be balanced. You have to show positives and negatives for both sides, because in reality there are positives and negatives to every viewpoint. That's what makes it believable, and that's what leaves the viewer or the reader or what have you free to interpret it as they see fit. The 7 remake did push more of an environmentalist message, but it was not heavy-handed at all. And if anything, what it was, they showed in this one more compared than the last one, the original 7. Unlike that one, in this one, they showed more of the citizens and their responses to the Avalanche Shinra crisis. And that stuff was good because they show a lot of people support Shinra, because most of them are either ignorant of what Shinra's doing or kind of willfully ignorant or whatever. But the idea is society as a whole benefited from Shinra. So you've got a lot of people who defend it, and you've also got a lot of people on the opposite side who recognize that Shinra's sucking the blood out of the planet. And so, but the idea is neither side is presented as, well, okay, Shinra itself is presented as pretty straightforward evil. But in terms of like the debates between like the average citizens and stuff, no one is good or bad in this case. Everybody has good intentions at their heart, and it's just the execution that is questionable. Another case, and the thing that people were bringing up, they love talking about Barrett because they considered him a hero for a lot of his lines in this one. They seem to forget that Barrett in the third disc came to realize that his actions of bombing the reactor was not the right way to go about it, because a lot of innocent people were killed. But yeah, like I'm mainly addressing a Twitter comment I saw a little while back that I just thought was so obnoxious. This guy talking about Barrett's line about how, like, oh, a good man who's complicit in something evil like this or whatever, they're not sinless. They have to accept their complicity. Number one bell that rings in my mind is more wokeness, white privilege bullshit. And, so naturally that's what Twitterites would cling to. But it's like, yeah, Barrett was wrong. Okay. Barrett was wrong on a few levels. His intentions for the planet were right. His overall, his feelings of self-sacrifice and whatnot good, but his execution of his plans was not good in the slightest. So yeah, I just wanted to briefly rant about those things. I know this isn't quite an angry rant. It's more because I feel like there's enough angry rants on YouTube. I like to calmly discuss it. Yeah. So I've been hearing rumors. There's a strong possibility that Square Enix may go back on what they were trying to set up in the end of the 7 remake. There's a chance that they will continue to follow the beats of the original plot. That's a rumor. I don't know. That's something I read somewhere. I can't even remember exactly where. But there is a possibility that Square will go, get back on track because they've been keeping their ear to the ground with all the feedback. And that is something I admire about a lot of those companies. I like companies that listen to the fans and respond accordingly. In spite of all the Twitter auteurs out there who all are like, no, you don't change your art for anybody. It's like, no. I feel like modern day storytelling and everything should be a relationship between creator and artist. And if the artist goes out of their way to insult the reader, they can't bitch if the reader bitches at them about it. It's just the way it goes. If you're going to throw stones, don't be shocked somebody throws stones back. And the fact of the matter is fans are the lifeblood of the entertainment industry. Without them, we wouldn't be able to continue making movies, making comics, making games. It's the bottom line. Whatever anti-capitalist mantra you have, you got to kind of swallow your pride a little bit when it comes to that. But anyway, I think that's about it for my musings, if you will. Real quick, I'm gonna whoop. Sorry about that. I'm trying to share a screen real quick. Bam. Check it out. Outlaw Nights. 6 backers already. Let's get this puppy going. See some of our amazing artwork here. Press colors. Always excited about them. I'm so excited to make this book. I really am. I think that's part of the reason why I get so impetuous when I was on Twitter, like advertising the blood out of this. It's just that I love it. I love these images so much, and it's like I want to complete it. I want it all to be done, and I'm just very anxious to do so. Get in on this racket. Let's do it. get in on this. Thank you so much for joining me for this little impromptu stream. Well, I mean, technically we have no viewers, but I'm all right with that. Always replay value. But thank you for joining me, everybody. I will talk to you all later this afternoon, actually, because I'm going to be streaming with Red Gaze. So get ready for that. Thank you so much, everybody. I will talk to you all later.